Hi everyone, welcome to Lilybug's Library. My name's Linda, or welcome back if you've been here before. And we're just going to talk a little bit today about my wrap up of May, because can you believe it? May is just about done. So we'll wrap this one up today, and then in a couple days I'll talk about June. So thank you for joining me. I know there's like a million things that you can click on out there and a million videos you can watch. So I really appreciate you watching mine. All right, so just to wrap up what I did for May, a lot of them, not a lot of them, didn't end up being, no, I didn't, wait, take two. I didn't say that right. I was supposed to be reading from my bookshelf, and I did a couple of books, but a lot of them still didn't make it, and I ended up reading from my Kindle. It's just so much more convenient sometimes, and yeah, that's just where we were. But one of the ones that I did read from my bookshelf was The Cat Who Went Up the Creek, and it was part of the Cat Who series. So first we'll talk about the parts I enjoyed. So the character of Quillerin and his cats were great. His cats are called Coco and Yum Yum, which I think is absolutely adorable. And it looks like, I think Yum Yum appears to just be a regular cat, and Coco seems to have some kind of psychic abilities or something. He kind of points Quillerin towards some of the clues of the mystery, and so it's fun to watch them kind of try to figure it out. And Quillerin writes for the local paper, so that's kind of fun. And don't get a lot of male sleuths in the Cozy Mysteries, so it was kind of neat to see that side of it as well. So in this newspaper that he writes for, he does some serious stories, but during the summer, it's very lighthearted. And so he talks about the skeeters, which is mosquitoes, and how much they kind of take over during the summer in this place. And he talks about the squirrels, and he has fun with it. He interviewed this woman who was doing little miniature things for doll houses, and a lot of cute, kind of neat characters in the town. And I think I was trying to remember what the paper is called. It's the Daily Nowhere or something. It's something kind of quirky. So all of those things I really liked. In this one, he has a girlfriend named Polly. So the girlfriend has gone on a trip with with a friend of hers, and they're having a good time and everything. And she sends him postcards all the time, which you'd think would be sweet, but isn't really, because she spends a lot of time talking about this guy that she met, and he's getting concerned, and she just, I don't think there was anything for him to be concerned about, but it's never addressed when she comes home. Like, he never says, like, okay, tell me about this guy, or what happened, or, and she never, says that she was joking, or, it's just kind of left there, which kind of left me with a bad taste in my mouth. It's like, so I didn't really care for that part. And there was hardly any interaction with them when she did come home. So I thought, like, there's a little line about them not liking public displays of affection, but it just seemed like she could have been gone for, a couple of hours instead of days. So anyway, I didn't care for that part. And then the case was solved at the end, but they didn't actually catch the killer, which I didn't like either. I mean, you know who it is, you know that they're looking for them, but there's not the nice, neat wrap-up that I like. So, and it was very long as far as the length of time it took them to get to the point. I kind of, I like all the cozy atmosphere and things, but it also the plot still has to move along, and I found it took a while for this one to do that. So anyway, all things being said, I gave it a 3.5, rounded up to 4. So I do have another one of hers on my bookshelf, and I will try another one and see what it's like. But this one was not my favorite. So the next one that I read was actually on my list of, maybe it wasn't on a list. I'm trying to think whether I had made a list of series to continue in 2024. Maybe it was just in my head. We're not sure. But anyway, this was one of the ones I had started last year and just continued. It's the second in the Cleopatra Fox mystery series. And this one was called Murder at the Piccadilly Playhouse. And it was every bit as good as the first one. I love that because then I know, okay, we've got a series we can run with here. So in this one, Lord Rumfort's mistress dies at the Piccadilly Playhouse, and it looks like she's committed suicide, but he doesn't think that's the case. So he's looking for someone to investigate for him, and the maid that's there hears him talking to, I'm not sure what he is, the concierge maybe? Anyway, she hears him talking to this person, and he says, okay, I'm going to send someone over to talk to you. Well, he means Mr. Armitage, who is an investigator, but the maid comes and tells Cleo, and Cleo ends up going, not realizing that. She ends up going to his suite, and he thinks that she's the investigator, and she agrees to investigate. So Mr. Armitage kind of gets his nose at a joint a little bit, but she is determined to do this. She tries to share it with him, but he doesn't want that. He wants it all on his own. So anyway, they're working on that. So it's her investigating to figure out what happened to this person and why. And I thought they did a really good job with, the clues and with the different suspects and with her thought process and how it all works out. And some of the staff at the hotel are still helping her, which is kind of neat to see because she's kind of supposed to be, she's the owner's niece of the hotel. So technically she's kind of above their status, but she doesn't see it that way, and neither do they, because she doesn't act that way. Excuse me. She doesn't act that way. And her growing up was not in wealth. She just ended up there because her grandparents had died, and this is her family, and they took her in. So she's not used to all the wealth and things. So it makes her very easy to talk to. So anyway, it was really good, and I really am excited to see where the series continues to go, because there's some kind of romantic tension between her and Mr. Armitage. And I think he is quite fond of her, and I think she's quite fond of him, but will they ever get together? Hard to say. And of course, if they did, her uncle would find it scandalous because Mr. Armitage, was his employee at one point, and it wouldn't be, right for his niece to date him. But anyway, really enjoyed it, and that one I would give 5 out of 5. So the next one that I just finished was called Murder in Paris. And this one was on my TBR for quite some time, or on my Kindle for quite some time. And I just kept, is it Murder in Paris? I hope it's Murder in Paris. Could be Death in Paris. I feel like it's Death in Paris. And I had been putting down murder on other things, but I'm pretty sure it's Death in Paris. It'll be in the picture up there. Anyway, it's by Kate DeRoche. And it was good. It was this woman named Mary, although it's spelled a little different, so I think I'm pronouncing it right, and her friend Leanna, and they are both in Glasgow, I believe. And Mary's, the guy that she's been seeing and that she thought was quite serious, he comes home from a trip with a woman and says that he's marrying her, and he expects Mary to show her around the town and be her friend. And Mary's like, nah, that's not happening. But now she's humiliated and she's upset, and she has a teaching position in Istanbul that she decides to accept, and Leanna decides to go with her. So they get on this train and they head there to try and, they're going to go to Paris first to try and just, have a little break. They haven't had a holiday in ages. So they're going to go there, do a little shopping and things, and then continue on to Istanbul. So the problem is they get on this train and they end up getting involved in this whole problem and this murder that happens. And so Leanna ends up getting arrested for it. And so it's up to Mary to figure out like what on earth is going on. And the person that dies is actually someone that Leanna did know and didn't like. So that makes things a little more complicated. So the whole thing is them, or Mary, trying to solve the case while Leanna's in jail. And there's a man that is helping her with this, but she figures he has some kind of ulterior motive, and she's trying to figure that out too. So it involves terrorists, it involves, bombings. It's got, it sounds heavy, but it's not really the way that they do it. But it was really good, really well done. Really like the character of Mary. I thought the only thing I couldn't quite figure out is how old she is. I don't think they told us, and I feel like she's supposed to be younger than what I felt she was. There were a few different times that I kind of felt like she was a middle-aged woman, but I'm not sure if she's actually supposed to be. So anyway, but it was really good, and lots of intrigue and lots of people complicit in the murder and things that happened. Now, the only thing I know it gets you reading the next one, and I understand that, but I do like a nice wrap up, and this wrapped up that part. But then as they get on the train to continue on to Istanbul, something else happens. So you have to tune in for the next book, right? But anyway, it was good, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So the last one that I listened to actually as an audiobook was called Moving is Murder. And this one kind of threw me a little bit because the main character is Ellie Avery. And I think when I first looked at it, I thought that the book I was about to listen to was Ellie Alexander book or something. I don't know. Like I just somehow the main character's name kind of got mixed up in my head. But anyway, that's my problem. But it's Ellie Avery and her husband Mitch, and Mitch is in the military, and they have just changed posts, moved into military housing in a different location, and then to top it off, it's a heat wave, and she just had a newborn. So she is really already beside herself trying to deal with all that, and then someone ends up dead, and she's the one that finds them. So things couldn't get much worse at this point. This woman's really over her head. But it does a good job of her trying to investigate this. Her husband trying to support her, but at the same time, he's busy. He's got commanding officers to go in front of and things that need done. And he just doesn't have time to worry too much. But the whole thing's very interesting. I did find there were quite a few characters. I occasionally got a little lost in who was who, but it was good. They tried to put all the pieces together, and the plot moved quickly, so I did like that. And you could certainly, if you've ever had a newborn, you could certainly relate to some of the ways that she felt. She was often sleep deprived and trying to juggle 12 things at once. So that's certainly the way it turns out for a new mother. And so I would give it probably a 3.5 rounded up to 4. So all in all, it was a pretty decent few weeks of reading. We're still working on The Phoenix Crown, which was one of the ones that was a physical book. Because we read it at nighttime, we only usually get a chapter or 2 in each night because we're tired. So, but you'll get the wrap up of that eventually. So I also wanted to mention that I found a channel as I was surfing YouTube called the Book Cougars. And so they are part of Sue Jackson's Big Book Summer. And so it's a challenge over the summer, and I decided I was going to do one book. I'm not signing up to do any more than that because I don't think I can manage it. But you've got between, I think it was June 1st and, or no, they said Memorial Day, I think. So between Memorial Day in the States, which just happened, and Labor Day. So between those times, you have to read a book over 400 pages. I mean, you can read as many books over 400 pages as you want, but, at least one. So anyway, I decided I'm going to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. Thorn and Roses. It's by Susan Mass, and it's Mass. Not sure. Anyway, it's been very popular. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I don't know much about it except that it's fantasy. So, and I know it's part of a much larger series, but I'm going to try it, see what I think. So that's the one that I'm going to be starting for this summer book challenge. And I'm going to leave the URL down below for Sue Jackson's web YouTube channel. Goodness, I can't think today. Sue Jackson's YouTube channel. And in case anyone decides that they want to check that out, or maybe decide to play along with the challenge. And I can also leave the YouTube channel for Book Cougars. The first time I found them, and they seem really fun, and somebody might want to look at. So that is the wrap up for May. So we have got that one finished. And next will be June. So I can't believe how quick time is going, but it certainly is. You look at my window today, it looks more like March. It's not very nice out today. It's kind of dull, and it's the wind is blowing, and it's kind of chilly, and yeah, so we're still working on it. I'm sitting here in a tank top thinking eventually, I'll be able to go outside in this. So we'll see how it goes. All right. I hope you have a great day, friends. Bye-bye.